Hello everybody, Debbie here with another Stratego game analysis. And today we're going to do a Marshal Blitzer, side Marshal Blitzer coming down towards my flag side. This opponent is a pretty decent player, 465, 38 wins, 11 losses. I believe this player was an alias, and I believe this player, I think their main account was permanently banned. I don't know if this alias has been banned yet, but I think it's the same. I think this player has multiple aliases, so that's why I didn't blur out the name. So let's get started to the game. Alright, my setup isn't great here. We'll see how it affects the game. This captain is in a bad spot. It should be up. We'll see that later. So again, I have the flag up front. I move my captain up. I should have moved it over. Sometimes I gamble a little bit, but if you do that, you lose a lot of times on the third or fourth move. You really got to go up and over to block the flag. So this could be a high piece coming from behind the lakes. So I'm thinking I'm already in trouble. When you have a flag up front, your games are always exciting. And at least until the last scout. I always say they're always exciting until the last scout dies with a wide open flag. Okay, so now this doesn't look good. This is a Marshal Blitzer with a 38-11 record, probably an alias. He's probably a mid-level gold player, maybe a high-level gold player. Coming down on my flag side. So that's why I like playing with a flag up front. It's incredibly challenging, and to win a game like this is really difficult. So let's see how the game goes. So that's usually a bad sign. When they move over, a scout usually comes down and wins the game. But then a lot of times with Marshal Blitzers, they usually don't have too many scouts on their Marshal side. They might have one or two in front and maybe one in the back. But most of the time, their scouts and bombs are on this side. And then they have some sergeants and lieutenants and maybe a minor. But they usually keep several minors over here and all their high pieces over here. So you really don't have to worry about too many scouts with a Marshal Blitzer. Now a lot of times they have a bomb and a sergeant up here with their general and spy and colonel guarding the middle. Now I had to scout this piece again. All I'm doing is clearing a lane to try to get my Marshal out. I don't really have time to. Usually I like to sacrifice the Marshal in the center. Take the Marshal, take the general, get caught by the spy, and then follow up with my general and attack towards the flag. But in this case, since I'm being blitzed on my flag side, I don't have enough time, so I'm going to bring my Marshal up here and hopefully swap with this Marshal. So that's why I just had to clear this lane, so I had to get rid of that scout. I'm not that senile yet. I knew it was a sergeant. So now I'm going to come up here with my general, maybe try to slip it by the opposing general and attack towards this way too. And as you're making your plans here, always try to figure out what pieces they've moved on this side, so when you get by, you know what to target. You always want to target things that move first, and then if it's an emergency, you can then try to hit pieces where you think are not bombs, because most of the time Marshal Blitzers don't have many bombs on their side. They usually have an open flag, and they might not have any bombs, but if they do have bombs, they might have a bombed-in flag in the corner. But if you have to lotto, you can. And then if you hit a stray bomb, then just follow up with the next piece. because like I said, a lot of times the flag's open and you can still win that way. So we found a lieutenant and a sergeant, so I'm just moving my general up. This is probably a general, and this is probably, or this is a general and this is a spy, or vice versa. So there was a general. So then this was probably the spy. So I checked with the scout here. I could have stayed here. I could have stopped here and forced it down, and then I would have went down and it would have taken me with this piece. So I just sped up. I just going right to the colonel. So now my opponent, he probably shouldn't have moved this piece because I'm going to get it. See, he can't risk, he probably thinks this is a colonel, but if it's my marshal and he attacks me, he's going to lose his colonel. So he's not going to do that. So you can go in there with your colonel and attack this piece. We know the marshal's down here, so we're safe. So this piece is going to die. We're going to capture this piece. It was only a minor, but every piece you get is helpful. So that was good. He brought his other colonel over. So that's good. So now at least we have some good information on our opponent. We know the marshal's here, the colonel's here, and this is probably a spy. So now what would be a good plan for me to do, since we know this is a colonel, spy, marshal. And then he's moved a lot of pieces here, and he's a Marshal Blitzer, so there's probably no bombs over here, or very few. So what I should do is, since he's pressuring my flag, I should swap marshals and then bring my colonel up this way and start attacking all these pieces before his colonel, which is going to be out of position, can get back over to play defense. So that's the strategy now. But before I do that, I want to reposition the board. I know it's going to be a swap game. We're going to start swapping pieces. And since I'm down a captain, I don't want to go down two captains. So I want to try to pull back this captain below my majors so it doesn't get captured. So it's always a good idea to move your pieces to safety and get your attacking pieces in position and then attack. So he doesn't mind swapping right now because he's leading. And I was hoping that was going to be a major or captain, but it was only sergeant, but it's still a piece. So that's good. So now he's trying to get his colonel over to stop me here. Now this piece is moved, but I probably should have attacked this piece. This piece didn't move, but the chances of it being a bomb are very, very slim with the common Marshal Blitzer pattern. So I should have attacked this, especially with my flag here. And this probably could have been a captain or a major too. So, but I knew this piece moved, so it's pretty safe to go here first. So these two pieces are moving. This was a spy, but I'll take it anyway. Every piece you get is important, especially in a close game. So now I move back, and I'm thinking now, well, I'm down a captain, and he has one piece here, another piece here, and this is probably a piece all heading down this way. So I'm in trouble. So it's a good I think it's a good decision to attack this piece, even though it hasn't moved, because like I said, Marshal Blitzers usually don't have bombs or a lot of bombs on the side they're blitzing from, and if they usually do, it's in the corner. So this isn't a bad if you're gonna hit attack an unmoved piece. This is a good candidate, and so is that piece there. So I got two captains. So now the game changed real quickly. I was down a captain, now I'm up a captain, and I'm up a lieutenant. So, I could, in a lot of games, I could just go right for the corner and win because, like I said, Marshal Blitzers don't have many bombs on their side, and a lot of times their flag is open. But I play, even though I have a flag up front, I really play almost too conservatively. And one thing is when you do lotto, when you do aggressive attacking, when you get ahead, stop. Don't keep on gambling because a lot of times these blitzers do have a bombed in flag in the corner. So you might want to wait till this gets scouted. And this could also be a bomb on this side because a lot of times they have a flag in the center squares with a triangle bomb, bomb, bomb flag or bomb, bomb, bomb flag. So it's probably best for me to stop lottoing and swap colonels since I'm now ahead a captain and a lieutenant. Now he really had to swap because he had a lot of he probably had all open. I mean all no bombs here, so he really had to swap. And so now I have to get my majors out. It's a swap game. We each have three majors. So we're going to trade off majors. Now I want to trade off. He shouldn't try. He wants to avoid trading off, but he probably can't because he probably has an open flag. And it's a lot of times when they don't know where your high pieces are, you can bring up a minor, sneak up a minor in here. He might think this is a major, so he might let you get all the way deep into his territory, and maybe open up a bombed in flag. So it's always nice to try to sneak in a minor to do that, and they'll let you go right on in because they'll think it's a major. If they don't have all their majors over here, you can sneak on in and win the game that way. So you can see where my setup is a little is not so ideal here because when we swap out majors, the next will be captains, and unfortunately my captain's buried down here and over here, so I have to move a lot of pieces to get my captains out to trade captains. I probably shouldn't have a captain here. I probably should switch these two, and it would be a little bit better. So now we'll see if he had a bombed in flag and he didn't. So I probably could have won the game. But you never know. One good trick would be to put a bomb here. That would be, if I'm a Marshal Blitzer, that would be a pretty good spot for a bomb. I probably shouldn't have tested that. That you figured it was a major, so that was a waste of a scout. You want to try not to waste pieces. You don't really want to waste them on obvious pieces. And that's probably a major as well. He doesn't want to go by because he knows I'm going to attack all these pieces since these pieces have moved. So he didn't want to risk that. But since he's losing, maybe he should have let me go by and then he should have charged down here. I don't know if he checked the graveyard yet. I think maybe he hasn't checked the graveyard to see where you stand. You want to do that often. And I'm up a captain and I'm up a lieutenant. So he really shouldn't be swapping. Okay, I made a little mistake here, a minor blunder. This was a scout, and I should have taken it instead of. He could have gone this way and revealed my lieutenant. And since my captains are buried, if he would have swapped captains, he could have got a captain up here maybe quickly and got that lieutenant. So you make enough little mistakes, you wind up losing the game. So have to really concentrate when you play Stratego. And now if you look at the graveyard, the one thing I'm really worried about is he still has 6 scouts left. And anytime you have an open flag anywhere on the board, when your opponent has so many scouts left in the middle game and late game, you can be in trouble. So this game is far from over. It's worth testing this piece because, you know, that's on the Marshal side. That could have been an open flag there. That was worthwhile checking. So now I'm just getting out my captains to swap with his 2 remaining captains. This was another blunder. I hate that, what I just did here. Even though it was a spy, you want to save every piece you can. If you can save a piece, save it. That's one of my pet peeves. You never want to hang pieces and let them get caught needlessly. At least I get information, you know. But you knew it was a captain coming down, so I don't do that. You never want to waste pieces, ever, ever, ever. That's very bad. Every piece is important in a close game, and when you're playing a good opponent, you need all your pieces. So I didn't bother taking him yet. I want to get this captain out. That's why I like playing with a flag up front. It's very exciting. The game really is always in doubt, even if you're way ahead, especially if they have so many scouts. So now I scouted that, so it's these 2 pieces, minor and a lieutenant. See, now his problem is he doesn't know which one is my captain. So that was good. So now I'm up a captain, a lieutenant, and a sergeant. So now the only thing I'm worried about now are all the scouts. He has 6 scouts left. And this piece moved forward and I can't catch him. So he could run here and get my flag. And I'm wondering why he hasn't moved yet. He's running his clock down and I'm thinking, uh-oh. He's one of these guys that figured out, he looked at the graveyard and saw the stats and he figured he was down 3 pieces. He thinks it's over. And then I look down here and he's chatting away. I didn't notice. I'm focused on the game. I don't really even notice when people send me messages through chat. But he is really 5 messages. He is really, and what he's mad about is he didn't like that I lottoed these 2 captains here. But you know, that's part of the game. I always say if you can't stop a lotto, you're not playing good enough defense. And when you do Marshal Blitz, you have to mix up bombs on your marshal side, because otherwise people are just going to sacrifice their marshal and rush in with their general and then just attack everything. So you really need to put a few bombs on this side to slow them down. So let's see what he said here. We'll move up. Go F yourself, pathetic lotto player, proof of no skills. No wonder you have 48% losses and your only wins by lotto, pure luck. So he was really mad. He said, see, you stink. What else? Lotto full. I have 77% wins. I'm a winner. Well, not anymore. You lost this game. You are the real loser. Lotto loser. So he couldn't. He was definitely a sore loser. He didn't like that. I figured out. You're a Marshal Blitzer. You didn't have any, and he didn't have any bombs on this side except for we didn't test this piece. So he did 38 and 11. He had a good, but I think he was an alias. But we didn't test this. This could have been a bomb, but this was probably his flag. So I could have won the game easily if I just would have lottoed more towards the flag. And you can do that. But like I said, most of the time, if you have time, scout the pieces and then attack. You really only have to lotto. I really had to because he was bearing down on my flag. But if my flag was over here somewhere, I really didn't have to do that. I could have scouted the pieces. So now he disconnected. And, if he would have been smart, we'll go back here. If he would have been smart, one thing you should also know is he should have looked at my side. I had all my high pieces on this side of the board. And a lot of times when a player has all their high pieces on one side of the board, they usually have the flag on that side of the board. And that flag is usually open as well. So he still had 6 scouts left. So he could have scouted this, even though the odds of it being a flag are very, very low. Most people don't put a flag there, right? That's crazy. But he could have checked this piece. He could have checked this piece. He could have checked this piece, even though it was on the other side a little bit. He could have checked this piece. He had 6 scouts he should have used. You don't quit until until your opponent can stop you from attacking pieces on your side. You keep on attacking. You keep on fighting, and you'll win a lot of games that you thought you would never be able to win. He could have just brought this piece and run it in here. You never know, right? The pieces are hidden. You don't know until you test them. So he really made a big mistake. He made an amateur mistake by not realizing that I had all my high pieces on one side, and the odds are very high. It's probably higher than 90% when all the high pieces are on one side. The flag is probably on that side as well. So he should have used all his scouts up before quitting. So we'll go through here. He went through the disconnect, and then he finally, at the end here, he finally did quit, and I got the victory. So this was a really good win. You don't think you can win right, with a Marshal Blitzer, right, coming down on your flag side, right? But you can, and it's a lot of fun. So this was a real good win for me, and I'm glad I beat him, because he definitely was a very sore loser. So, but anyway, I hope this helps you win future games. Remember the common pattern with the Marshal Blitzers, right? They have most of their high pieces on one side, the general, colonel, spy in the center, and usually the opposite side has bombs, mostly bombs, scouts, and sergeants. You come up with your marshal if you can, sacrifice the marshal, follow with the general towards the flag, towards the marshal side corner, and bring up your scouts, scout the pieces, hit pieces that have moved, because a lot of these pieces will have moved and they'll be trapped, and you can capture a lot of pieces if his marshal is way down here out of position, and then you'll wind up maybe getting a major 2-captain lead, and then you'll win the game. So, and also know if you do really well up here, uh, the Marshal Blitzer will wind up turning into a Marshal Lottoer, so you have to be prepared for that as well. So it's always a good idea to have your flag bombed in, especially when you're playing players when you're under 600 ELO. When you're playing players lower than that, make sure you have your flag bombed in, and that way they can't lotto your flag. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.